What is up, guys? EJ here, better known as Puckbond 007, here for the first time for the Movie Reviewers 100. And once again, I'd really like to thank Alan, aka Big Al 1982, for inviting me to join this great collaboration channel. I'm really looking forward to doing some cool reviews for you guys, and joining a great bunch of people on here already, so I'm really looking forward to it. So here we go. My first video for Post-Apocalyptic week, and I decided to go with the film The Road from 2009. Now this film is based on the book by Cormac McCarthy, who also wrote No Country for Old Men. Directed by an Australian director, John Hillcoat, whose credits include The Proposition, a Australian Western that I've heard great things about but never had the chance to watch yet. I've always wanted to see it, but never got around to checking it out. And he's also directing Lawless, which comes out later this year, a sort of Prohibition era crime film with Shia LaBeouf, Tom Hardy, Jessica Chastain, and Guy Pearce, who also appears in this film, The Road. Now, The Road, of course, stars Viggo Mortensen, Charlize Theron, Kodi, Smit-McPhee, Robert Duvall, and the aforementioned Guy Pearce. It's about a father and son traveling on a very treacherous road after some sort of cataclysm has happened. And so yeah, the film starts out in just a couple of shots of Viggo Mortensen and Charlize Theron, a seemingly very happily married couple, and then it quickly turns to what is obviously a very harsh and desolate, burnt landscape as we see Viggo Mortensen and his son traveling to some unknown destination. Now, one of the few issues, I really enjoyed this film, but one of the few issues I do have with this movie is there is no real explanation for what has happened, what has caused this great apocalyptic situation. We're told that the earth is dying, and all we really know is that one night Viggo Mortensen and his wife wake up to find the world is seemingly on fire. Everything is being burnt. Trees and vegetation are all dead. All the buildings and abandoned cars are seemingly burnt out. There's not much food, clean water, and the search for shelter is a harsh one. So yeah, that's one major issue I have with the film, is that there's no real explanation for how this happened. Maybe my guess is it's some sort of solar event, sort of in the vein of the end of Knowing, but not to that extreme, obviously, because obviously the Earth is still inhabitable, but it's a very harsh living, because it's seemingly some sort of nuclear winter. The sky is gray and very cloudy. There's no sunlight getting through. The ground is covered with ash. So some sort of cataclysm has happened, but we're not really sure what it is. So yeah, Viggo Mortensen and his son are traveling, and he tells us that there are roaming gangs who kill people for supplies and food and whatnot. We hear rampant tales of cannibalism, and early on in the film, Viggo and his son run into one of these gangs. They hide out in the forest, sort of off the road, to avoid detection. And one of these band members come over to take a leak in the forest, and he notices the two of them, and they have sort of a little standoff. The guy threatens the son with a knife, and Viggo Mortensen has to shoot him in the head to survive. And they only have 2 bullets left, which is interesting, because Viggo Mortensen says, "One for you and one for me," because suicide is obviously an option for the two of them. But once he kills this guy, they're only down to 1 bullet. so that's no longer an option. We also find out why Charlize Theron, the mother, the wife, is not with them anymore. She obviously went into a big despair about what has happened. She's lost the will to live, has lost all faith in humanity, and she basically leaves them one night. She walks out in the cold, in the dark, seemingly never heard from again. She at one point tells Viggo Mortensen, "We can't survive another winter here. They're gonna come and rape me, rape our son, and kill us. And if we don't end our lives now, we'll die a horrible death." Her character has some very tragic moments, and the really sad part for me for this film is that the boy, played by Kodi Smit-McPhee, who also starred in Let Me In remake. The Let the Right One In remake. Great film, Let Me In. I loved it more than the original. He also starred in that. He has been born into this situation. It's the only life he knows. It's very sad that it's all he knows. At one point, Viggo Mortensen sort of cracks open a vending machine and finds a dusty old Coke can. He gives the Coca-Cola to his son, saying, "Here's a treat," and the boy discovers what Coca-Cola tastes like, sort of the bubbly and fizzy taste of a Coke. So that's basically what they do. They scrounge for food and water and shelter, and try to avoid detection from these group of obviously normal human beings who have turned into these sort of gang-like groups who kill people for food and supplies and so on. They stumble across a couple of these. At one point they run into a house they think is deserted, and they find this cellar, and when they get down there, there's a bunch of emaciated people sort of locked up in the dark, and you don't really know why. We can only assume that they're there for food, and the people who are running the place come back with their guns and so on. So it's a very harsh reality that Viggo Mortensen and his son face. Another couple of interesting things about this film is that the characters don't have actual names. They're just given generic names like man, boy, woman, old man, played by Robert Duvall, and veteran, played by Pearce, who shows up at the end of the film. The only name you hear in the movie, interestingly enough, is the old man's character. At one point, Viggo Mortensen asks him what his name is, and Robert Duvall says Eli. Very interesting that it's Eli, because Big Al 1982 reviewed The Book of Eli, the film with Denzel Washington that came out a year later after this movie. So I thought that was interesting. Another thing that bothers me about this film is Viggo Mortensen tells us that they're traveling south and they're going to head towards the coast to go along the coastline to do this. At one point he shows a map to his son, and what looks like the East Coast, maybe like the Virginia and the Carolinas and Georgia. That's what I assume. He shows the map and tells the boy that the ocean is blue, or at least it used to be. But when they're traveling along the beach line at certain points later on, they're sort of traveling down the beach with the ocean on their right, which would indicate that they're actually heading north, which I find odd. But unless, of course, they're on the west coast, which would make sense. But the map that he shows clearly is some sort of eastern coastline. It's one of the few sort of continuity errors, if you like. I really noticed it last night when I rewatched the movie. I noticed it when I saw the film in theaters in 2009. It's something that's always bugged me about this film. But it's a very good film. Great performances by Viggo Mortensen and Kodi Smit-McPhee, because they're the really two main characters, and Viggo has to sort of carry him a young child actor. Obviously, he's perfectly decent in this film. Believe me. Except the moments when he calls him Papa the whole time. I find that kind of annoying. But it's a very good film. It's very hard to sit through. Very depressing. Very grim. Like Scott said when I said I was going to do this movie, he mentioned how he couldn't finish the book because it was so grim. And he's right. It's a very grim and depressing, harrowing tale of survival in this very harsh landscape. But the film is beautiful to look at in sort of that sort of burnt out, gray, ashy type of way. Some of the shots of distant fires and city landscapes all sort of burning up are really amazing. So yeah, the film visually is quite good, but just a very hard film to sit through. The Road from 2009. My pick for my debut video for the Movie Reviewers 100. Thank you for watching and tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy me being part of this great collaboration channel, and I'm looking forward to doing more reviews in the future. So until then, I'll see ya.